Hi, it's Carrie with Picasso Cat Treasures again. This week's video is going to be just slightly different because I'm going to set a challenge for myself. So I'll put the challenge out first and then I'll do a follow-up video on whether it is something that worked for me or not. First, though, I'm sitting upstairs in my bedroom in my bay window because my house is cold right now, so I decided to come up here and I can work up here because I work on my own computer. I work on my own time. I'm my own boss. Yay, reselling. But first I want to introduce you to my friend, Kevin. Kevin, isn't he adorable? My God, isn't he adorable? This is the creation of my neighbor who is she's a wonderful lady named Kathleen, and she lives right down the street from me, and I've gotten to know her over the years. And I went into her house one day and I saw this. And she made this herself, and she has started a business. She and her daughter have a business on Etsy. And so Kevin is handmade. What I love about him, I named him Kevin. I don't know why. This is all handmade, and some of the designs she does all kinds of animals, monkeys and giraffes and zebras, everything you can think of. And her Etsy shop is called In Lieu of a Zoo. So I just thought that was so clever. These are handmade. If you want to buy something that's like really different and unique for that new baby coming along in your life, a gift for somebody who is young, a gift for somebody who is old. I'll tell you who bought this for me. I did, because I loved him so much. So if you get a chance to check out her store on Etsy, again, it's In Lieu of a Zoo. And I guess on Etsy, you have to write that all as one long string of letters. You can't write it separately. You'll never find it. And you'll find all the wonderful, amazing work she does. And they're not cheap, nor should they be, because they are like something you would keep for generations. That's how nice it is. But Kevin is going to say bye-bye, Kevin. I just love him. He's so fluffy. Anyway, but the thing I'm going to do for YouTube this week, and it's why I have my camera with me, I just sort of decided I'd put it up, is I have had a person recently ask me why I don't sell more on Poshmark. And just so you know, my shirt says bottom of the lineup. It doesn't just say bottom. My son, who is a musician, was in Bottle Rock a couple of years ago, which is a huge music festival here in Napa, but his name was like at the bottom, so he made it his badge of honor that he was at the bottom of the lineup, because it meant he was happy to be on the lineup at all. And he said someday maybe he'll make it to the top. He will. So that's why I have this shirt on. But my video this week is going to be about Poshmark. I have been asked why I don't sell more on Poshmark. If you look at my eBay store, Picasso Cat Treasures, and the link is down in the description, you can tell I sell a lot of clothes. I buy a lot of clothes. Those clothes are, clothes are vintage clothes I love, but I'll just buy any clothes that I think will make me money. And I've had somebody say, why don't you go on Poshmark more? And I was going to explain why and give myself a challenge. So, I'm sorry, I got interrupted. So briefly, the reason that I don't use Poshmark much, I do have a Poshmark, I guess, name, Picasso Cat Treasures, and I have tried to sell on there. It's there are two reasons that I wasn't doing much on Poshmark. One is because the first time I listed on Poshmark, I didn't know all the rules, and I listed something that I guess is you're not allowed to have on Poshmark. I think it was like a candle or bath salts or something. I don't know what it was, but I put it up and they listed it. So I thought, okay, then it's okay. Because if you try to list certain things on eBay, they'll stop you, but they didn't stop me. And within a day, I had a woman, on Poshmark, you can't do like a private message. They literally just message you right on the Poshmark app, I guess. And she was literally, her comment was, "Excuse me, capital, exclamation point. You are not allowed to list things like this on Poshmark. You need to go back and read the rules, blah, blah," whatever. Okay, so she came out of the gate swinging. I was new to Poshmark. Forgive me that I do not know every single thing there is to know about every single app that there is out there. And it wasn't Poshmark's fault, but it gave me a really bad first impression of the people that are on Poshmark. It was ugly, and I reported her as harassing me, and I blocked her. But before I did so, I found out that I could see that she was like a Poshmark ambassador, and she had, you know, she was like a big deal on Poshmark. And I'm like, so this is, no, you know, she could have gone on and said, you know, I think you're new at this, and so I just want to quickly point out, you know, just a heads up, that's probably not something you can do. Just like a civil person would do, like a civilized person would do. And I was like, well, that was unnecessary. So I left some stuff on Poshmark, but I was very unimpressed at all with, I mean, but then I bought something on Poshmark from another Poshmark seller, and she was wonderful. So I thought, okay, I'm all about everything deserving a second chance. And so I'm going to give Poshmark a second chance for me. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to go ahead and start listing a few things on Poshmark more than I would on eBay. I do not cross-post because you're not really supposed to do that. And also it's very hard for me to keep track of my my stock, and you know, something sells at the same time. I get a hit, I get a ding if I don't have that to ship out. So I just am not going to do that. But the only other reason that I didn't like selling on Poshmark, I didn't want to do it, was because it's all about the flat lays. And the flat lays are beautiful. I love how they look. I really am a great admirer of them, but my back is not. And I tried to do a couple of flat lays, and I was just miserable doing them. I have mannequin, and I have a couple mannequins, and I thought I'll just do my mannequin. The flat lays are gorgeous, and yet they, to me, are far harder than hanging them on a hanger or putting them even on a mannequin. It sounds weird. So then I went on YouTube and I looked up people that show you how to make an easy to use flat lay, you know, homemade flat lay board that you can bring up or down. And I thought that's definitely worth trying again. And of course, not everybody does a flat lay. So what I'm going to do is I'm either going to take some things from my eBay store and move them over to Poshmark, you know, or I'm going to go out and do Poshmark, like shop just for Poshmark, and see how well I do at it. I do pretty well on eBay, but it's time to give this platform a chance. So I use a lot of platforms to sell, but I can't discount a very popular platform simply because the first person that interacted with me on it was as rude as you can imagine. So just not fair to judge an entire business that way. So I'm not going to. I'm going to try again. So I'm going to see if I can find some special stuff to put on Poshmark, and we'll see how I do. Now, also once a week I try to go through what I've sold on eBay. So after this, you'll see a few of the things I sold on eBay, where I got them, what I paid for them, and maybe a few things to look out for, just some tips on that seem to be standard throughout much of this. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Keep your eyes open for treasure. One thing I always look for in thrift stores is anything vintage, especially right now. The 80s seem to be in style. This is a two-piece, and it was not shantung because it wasn't silk, but it felt like it. And I paid $3 for that. And here is a high-end pair of women's shoes in that unusual size I talk about, which is, this one is a 12, but if you're looking for anything really small or large, you might look online. I paid $8 for this at that same thrift store. I wouldn't normally do that, but that's a classic clutch design. That top piece comes off and you can change it out or wear it as a brooch. And Sarah Oliver is a high-end designer, so I think I did well. This is a 70s design gown, and so anything 70s that is in good shape, I go ahead and get, and I loved the illusion sleeves on this one. I think I paid $7 for that dress. And this I put on here, it's just one of the few things I sold. It's a Massive Elements pullover for men. Always look for Massive. They make good money. And these I found at the thrift store I love so much, and they were in very good shape. And what I loved about them is the bottom soles come off and you can wear them as slippers, or you can change them into, put the soles back on and they become shoes again. And here's an Asian print beautiful dress that was vintage because I believe it had a metal zipper. And I got it for $3 at a thrift store, so it did well. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. Enjoy your day.